So good news, I don't have any more COVID. I'm feeling great. Bad news is my entire family got sick, all but one. It was pretty bad. We had a little bit of a trek back from Florida, and it sucks, I think, from a COVID standpoint because I think it was 2020 and you sneeze, everyone thought you had COVID. Just right away. You sneeze, you had COVID. But in 2025, it doesn't really happen that much. And every time I go to Florida, I get allergies. My allergies just hit me so bad, and I start to sneeze a lot, and I start to cough, and I get a sore throat. It happened, and that's what I thought. That's what it was. But it wasn't until like the third day that I started to get a fever, and I was like, something's off. And so I got tested, and it turns out I was positive for COVID. And that sucks because the house that we were staying with, it wasn't really that big, and so it was a lot of enclosed areas, and I'm sure I'm the one that got my family sick. And that sucks because my middle son, he has cystic fibrosis, and he was the third one to get sick, and so we were really nervous about what was going to be happening with that because he started to get a cough almost immediately, and it was a really bad cough. Took him to the doctor. He was fine, which was great. He still has a little bit of a cough, but again, he's doing a lot better. Now, my youngest, he also has cystic fibrosis. He's starting to get a cough, but it's not as bad. It's only happening at night. But that's a crazy thing. We weren't expecting it. It kind of threw a little bit of a wrench into our Florida trip, but we did the best we possibly could. So now onto the job hunt. So I've been applying now for the last 3 weeks. I'm going on 3 weeks now since I've been laid off, and I've been rejected 8 times. I've applied to a good many jobs, and I've gotten rejected 8 times. It stings a little bit, but I'm still plugging away. I'm still doing my best. Things I've noticed over this last week in some of the places that I've applied for is they're wanting to know why I want to apply at these jobs. And it's a very odd question. Why are you interested in this company? I would love to have a vested interest in a specific company. However, I can't guarantee that any interest I have in one specific company is going to result in me working there. If that was the case, then that would be great. But I can't put all my eggs in one basket. And so when a company asks why I want to work for that company, it's hard not just to be like, because I need a job. Because that's really what it is. And I will have a lot of vested interest in that company. I'm not just applying to just random companies. I'm looking at them and seeing, do I have an interest in that area? Are they doing things that interest me? And they do. But it's not like I need to work at that place. And it sucks because if I went into that application and I said, I just need a job and your company is hiring, I'm pretty sure the hiring people would look at it and go, yeah, we're not interested. We're looking for people that are a little more excited about our company. And I can understand that. But is that really something that we can expect moving into this culture right now, into the economy, that everyone's going to be absolutely die hard, expecting to just want to work for this company? I just don't think it's going to be the case. One of the things I will say is I found that a lot of these jobs out there will say like remote and then a city or a state. And I'm not sure if you have to be in those states in order to get the remote job. I don't know. It's a very weird thing. You know, I know there's some places out there that actually say hybrid, which I know that's obviously going to the office some of those times, but it's very confusing. And so when you're trying to apply for some of these jobs, it really isn't as clear as to what you're actually applying for. Because even in the job description, it doesn't really say like, you know, you're going to be working in this places. There are some places out there that will put that in the job description, but I found for the most part that isn't as clear as I would have expected it to be. So, you know, I'm throwing my feelers out for most of the jobs anyways, and we'll see what happens. You know, at the worst case scenarios, they say, hey, you got to live in the city, you got to live in the state. Doesn't make sense, but you know what? I'll apply there. I did find one job that said that you had to be working in the Eastern time zone, which I thought was very odd. You know, it's not like a specific general area, it's just Eastern time zone. And so I'm not sure why that is a specification of a job. I mean, if I'm in the Central time zone, it's only an hour ahead, and if you're wanting something to work 9 to 5, that's, you know, 8 to 4 for me. You know, not that big of a deal. I don't mind getting up. Heck, if I was in the Pacific time zone, it wouldn't really be that big of a deal, depending on the person, depending on the shift. So I thought that was a very odd thing. I'd be curious to see what other odd things are out there, or what am I going to find kind of looking through some of these jobs. Trying to stay positive throughout all this. Those of you that are going through this process, I can only recommend doing the same thing. I know sometimes it can be a little bit tedious. I know that a lot of this can go on for months and months and months. But do your best to stay positive. Remember, elevating yourself to the next level, it starts with a single step. Sometimes those steps are a little bit tough, but you got to take them. Appreciate the watch. Have a good rest of the week.